Welcome, everyone. Today, we're diving into a challenge that sits at the heart of industrial performance: the organizational conflict between operations and maintenance. While it often feels like a personality clash on the plant floor, it is actually a board-level issue that affects enterprise value. My goal today is to show you how to move from departmental friction to a unified operating system for reliability. When reliability fails, the standard response is often to ask who caused it. But for leadership, the real question should be what system allowed it to happen. This conflict isn't just a nuisance, it's a design flaw in management. When we fail to align these functions, we are essentially converting technical risk into lost production, higher costs, and a breakdown of trust. Let's start with a clear thesis. Operations owns how we run it, maintenance owns how we care for it, and engineering owns how we design it. Reliability is destroyed when these functions optimize their own metrics at the expense of the asset. The fix isn't just better communication. It requires clear governance, defined decision rights, and shared ownership of losses. Here is our roadmap for today. We'll look at why this is a board-level issue, how the blame loop develops, and the real cost of this conflict. Then, we'll move into solutions, redesigning accountability and providing you with practical tools like loss reviews and RACI matrices to build a repeatable operating rhythm. We begin with part one: why this conflict matters. We need to frame reliability not as a technical task, but as a cross-functional business outcome. Why should executives care? Because this conflict silently eats away at EBITDA. Unplanned downtime, scrap, and emergency repairs are all symptoms of misalignment. When departments compete, the company pays twice. First for the failure itself, and again for a slow, uncoordinated recovery. Reliability is a culture and value creation indicator. We often see a false choice: run now or fix now. This binary thinking is a trap. The better leadership question is, what risk are we accepting? What value are we protecting? And who has the authority to decide? Mature organizations don't avoid this tension. They use it to make transparent, value-based decisions. Without alignment, we fall into a destructive pattern. Preventive maintenance is deferred until it becomes an emergency. Operations is blamed for abuse, maintenance for lack of support, and engineering is called in way too late. We end up funding the recovery of assets rather than preventing the recurrence of failure. It's important to realize that reliability losses rarely sit neatly inside one department. They live at the boundaries between them. A truly effective loss review separates blame from contribution. The objective must always be to remove the loss from the system, not to protect a departmental silo. We often tell teams to communicate better, but that's not enough. You can talk all day and still disagree on priorities. Without clear decision rights, communication is just noise. Without shared metrics, it's just negotiation. And without an escalation path, it simply leads to frustration. In part two, we'll examine the blame loop. It's a fascinating and frustrating study in how good, hardworking departments can inadvertently create a bad system. This is the reinforcing conflict loop. Production pressure leads to deferred maintenance. Those growing defects eventually force unplanned downtime. The resulting event creates blame and distrust, which triggers more short-term behavior. Without a structural intervention, this loop will keep reinforcing itself indefinitely. The conflict starts because we measure people differently. Operations is driven by daily output and customer commitments. Maintenance is driven by PM compliance and asset health. Both groups are acting rationally based on their own metrics, but the combined result for the asset system becomes irrational. Let's look at operations perspective. Their commitments are real and visible every hour. They are naturally hesitant to stop equipment if the maintenance window feels poorly planned or if they don't see the business value in the shutdown. To them, stopping can mean quality instability and misdemand. On the other side, maintenance knows that equipment doesn't care about a schedule. Ignored alarms and rushed repairs lead to catastrophic failure. They cannot support production plans that consume assets without allowing the time necessary for proper care and defect removal. Engineering is the often missing third leg of the stool. Many reliability issues aren't about running or fixing. They're about design weaknesses or operating outside the intended envelope. When engineering only gets involved after a repeat failure, the organization is trapped in a perpetual repair mode. Listen to the language in your plant. They never give us the equipment, or they always want to shut down. These aren't just complaints. They're symptoms of weak reliability governance. These statements show that the root cause isn't the people, it's the system they are working in. This slide illustrates the hidden metric conflict. On one side, you have the pressure of volume and change over time. On the other, the pressure of backlog and craft capacity. When these targets pull in opposite directions, the organization is effectively at war with itself. When targets drive the wrong behavior, everyone loses. If output targets punish every stop, we teach teams to defer work. If PM compliance targets are too rigid, we teach them to do poor quality work just to hit a date. Leaders must ensure that metrics don't unintentionally encourage underinvestment in prevention. To solve this, we need a decision rights matrix. We must clarify which decisions happen at the shift level and which require leadership risk acceptance. By making the production urgency and the reliability consequence visible together, we stop having the same argument every single day. In Part 3, we'll discuss the enterprise cost. We need to see how functional conflict directly results in value leakage for the company. The cost of conflict isn't just the invoice for a repair. It's the startup losses, the overtime, the expediting fees, and the delayed elimination of defects. Boards should expect reliability reports to translate these departmental frictions into actual quantified value leakage. How does conflict manifest? You'll see higher unplanned downtime, scheduled churn, and lower craft efficiency. You also see repeat failures because we are so busy arguing that we don't solve the true causes. Eventually, this leads to unnecessary capital requests for problems that should have been managed through discipline. There is also a hidden morale cost. When operators feel blamed and maintenance feel ignored, your best people disengage. Supervisors spend their time as conflict managers instead of reliability leaders. A system that wastes effort will eventually lose its talent. Crucially, reliability conflict is a safety issue. Emergency work involves more pressure and less planning, increasing exposure to risk. If a site cannot align on asset risk, it will likely struggle to align on safety-critical decisions as well. It also impacts quality. Running equipment with known issues creates process variation. Rushed maintenance windows can lead to startup instability. Often, a quality loss is actually the first warning sign that asset condition or operating discipline is degrading. Conflict even skews capital allocation. Instead of fixing operating discipline or design, plants often just ask for new equipment. By monetizing technical risk, we move capital requests from emotional pleas to evidence-based business cases, improving overall board-level discipline. When we achieve cross-functional alignment, the work mix shifts. Planned work goes up, and reactive work goes down. This isn't magic. It's the result of protected schedules and better decision rights. The work mix is the most visible symptom of your management system's health. Now we move to Part 4, redesign the system. We want to move away from departmental debate and toward a comprehensive reliability operating model. Think of this as the shared reliability value triangle. Operations, maintenance, and engineering each control a different part of asset performance. Reliability only emerges when leadership connects these controls through shared governance and common values. This requires a shift in the operating model. Leadership must own the system. Operations must own discipline, running within health limits. Engineering must own standards and permanent defect removal. And planning must protect the entire system from the chaos of unplanned work. We must define shared outcomes. These include safety, OEE, asset health, and cost per reliable unit. By looking at the cost per unit rather than just departmental spend, we align everyone toward the same bottom line goal. Decision rights must be crystal clear. Who can stop the equipment for protection? Who can defer a PM? Who accepts the risk for a known defect? Answering these questions up front prevents friction during the heat of production. A RACI matrix is a vital tool here. It prevents vague ownership, which usually results in no ownership. Accountability must be placed where the authority to act actually exists, and escalation paths must be clear when boundaries are crossed. We need one weekly plan, The schedule must be co-owned by operations, maintenance, and planning, not negotiated hour by hour. Schedule protection is the best indicator of functional discipline. If we must break the schedule, we need to classify it and learn from it. We must protect maintenance windows using business logic. Maintenance needs to prove the work is kit and resource to earn the downtime. In return, once leadership approves the window, operations must honor it. This mutual respect is built on risk and consequence, not just tradition. Part 5 introduces the governance tools. These are the practical ways to make this alignment repeatable and sustainable. An escalation ladder is essential. Conflict becomes destructive when it has no path to a resolution. Escalation isn't about having more meetings. It's about providing a clear path to a fast, clean decision based on risk information. Reliability governance has a specific cadence. Daily reviews handle immediate risks. Weekly locks protect work quality. And monthly/quarterly reviews remove systemic barriers and align the long-term capital and value strategy. The daily loss review is where we look at the last 24 hours. We classify losses without blame. Was it operating, maintenance, or engineering? We then assign a root cause owner and escalate if the loss repeats or if authority is missing. The weekly schedule lock meeting is where we freeze the plan. We agree on access and resources, define what constitutes a true emergency, and measure schedule breaks. This is how a site learns why its plans are failing. Monthly bad actor reviews focus on recurring losses, not just the loudest recent event. We use cross-functional problem solving to find permanent corrections. Success is measured by the actual business value we remove from the loss tree. Finally, the quarterly executive review. This is where leadership reviews top asset risks and schedule discipline. It's the time to decide whether to accept a risk, allocate more resources, or remove organizational barriers that the teams can't solve themselves. We are moving from a culture of blame to a reliability operating system. The most mature sites have one set of goals, facts, and decisions. Their maturity is measured by how quickly the system identifies and removes losses without pointing fingers. Part 6 provides case vignettes, real-world examples of how these conflicts look and what they teach us. In the first vignette, a bearing defect is deferred to meet a schedule. The resulting failure creates a much longer outage and more cost. The lesson here is that deferral is a risk decision that must be explicitly accepted by the right level of leadership, not just a casual delay. Vignette 2 shows a maintenance break-in that destroys a schedule because the work wasn't ready. This damages trust, even if the technical concern was valid. It reminds us that poor work management is just as destructive as poor operating discipline. In Vignette 3, we see engineering as the root cause. Maintenance and operations are at odds over a machine that was actually designed poorly. This proves that recurring conflict is often a signal that the problem doesn't belong to just one department. Vignette 4 is a warning. Compliance without value damages credibility. If PM completion goes up, but reliability doesn't, operations will become skeptical. We must ensure we're doing the right work at the right quality standard. Let's try a board exercise. If a machine loses 8% capacity, but no department owns the specific cause, who is responsible? This scenario tests your governance. Who owns the root cause? Who approves the correction? If you can't answer this quickly, you have a governance gap. To change, we must stop using reliability for blame and stop rewarding metrics that damage the system. Instead, we must start cross-functional loss reviews, protect our schedules, and quantify the value of removing recurring losses. In your first 90 days, you should baseline your current conflict, measure the break-ins and deferred work. Pick a pilot area, establish a daily and weekly rhythm, and define those crucial decision rights. Close out the top 3 bad actors to build momentum. Success looks like reduced downtime, higher schedule compliance, and faster closure of corrective actions. But it also looks like improved trust between your teams and a visible increase in the financial value recovered from the system. Here are 5 takeaways. Conflict is a system problem. Reliability happens at the intersection of all functions. Clear decision rights are the fastest way to reduce friction. Boards must ask about value lost to conflict. And finally, the goal is one reliable operating system, not just departmental peace. This presentation was prepared for professional discussion. The concepts and frameworks are original, and I've provided the necessary disclosures here regarding the illustrative nature of the case examples. Please feel free to reach out for further discussion. In closing, remember, reliability isn't protected by asking people to get along. It's protected by a management system where everyone wins only when the asset wins. When you replace blame with shared facts and disciplined execution, conflict becomes a source of learning. Thank you.